Hey, West Central Saskatchewan, thanks for joining me on the road once more as we're heading out for another one of our community spotlights. If you're wondering why I'm sweating, I'm not sure if that's picking up on the camera or not. It's because I can't film with the AC on here and I just got in and it's really hot. So that's why I look a little bit unkempt. But we're on our way to Kerrobert today, which is out of the towns that we've been to so far, Eston, Elrose, and Rosetown. Kerrobert's probably the one that I've spent the most time in, but I still don't know a whole heck of a lot about the town, so I'm excited to head out there, see what Kerrobert's all got to offer. I know a few places that I'm going to stop, but let's go see if we can find some hidden gems too. Located at the junction of highways 21, 31, and 51, Kerrobert is located about 50 kilometers north of Kindersley and about 65 kilometers east of the Alberta border. Kerrobert is home to just over 1,000 people and has a couple of notable landmarks, but one that I didn't have a chance to visit because, well, it's out of season, is the hockey rink. Their first rink was built in 1910 but was destroyed in a tornado 9 years later, and another small rink was built in 1927 before it burned down in 1946. In August of 47, though, the town purchased one of the soon-to-be decommissioned Royal Canadian Air Force hangars in North Battleford, and that turned out to be the best Christmas gift the town has ever received, as it stood the test of time as the town's rink since it opened on Christmas Day of 1947. Now behind me is the water tower here in Kerrobert, and we're not just showing you a water tower for the sake of showing you a water tower. I mean, this is actually a pretty significant spot to Kerrobert. It's one of only 3 of this design left in the entire province, and from what I've been told, it's also the only one of its design like this that's actually still in operation, but don't 100% quote me on that. It's got a lot of history behind it here in Kerrobert, and it's actually part of their imaging as well. You'll see it on all of their town notices, as well as any pins or anything like that around town too. So this guy, little guy right here, I shouldn't say little guy, it's pretty big. Well, either way, it's got a lot of town history behind it here in Kerrobert. Let's set COVID aside for a second though. Like you kind of mentioned briefly the rodeo. Like what are some normal events that, you know, when we get back to a normal year that, you know, really seem to put a spark in the town?
Well, you know, we have the rodeo every year. The rodeo committee does a good job of putting that on. It's a big event. It's a I guess a tour event or whatever you call it.
So it's a full PBR event?
It's a full, not the PBR, it's a different association. You have to look that up to see what it is. But that's one of the big things for the summer here. Like I say, we always have it's called the Gumball Rally, which is essentially a tour of a few communities, stopping back here with the car show and beer gardens and stuff at night. A group of people from town and other surrounding towns here put on Trelapa every year, which is
it's one of my favorites. I love Trelapa.
It's a big growing event, and it's well attended from the whole area, so that brings a lot of people home for sure. Again, COVID kicked that one down, but they're going to have a smaller event this year. They're going to have what's called just a party in the park for one day. They do have a good lineup of local bands and some entertainment coming in, and they're going to do that still. Other than that, we always have the local ball that goes on downtown. And like I say, the rink. We have junior and senior teams that play out of here, and the AA centers. Yeah.
Now this building behind me is the Kerrobert courthouse, and you may be wondering, well, what's a community like Kerrobert, a small town in Saskatchewan, doing with a beautiful big courthouse like this one here? The answer is a lot. Like a real lot. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. It's essentially their community center, which sounds weird for a courthouse, but well, we're gonna go inside and find out about all the cool stuff going on in there, because it is ridiculously packed in this place.
At the same time, we have a council that's really been working to make this a cultural hub for our community. So in 2019, we added the library here downstairs, which we're really proud of. I think 2008, Perspectives Art Group added the art gallery, and they have done lots of renovations over the years, and they usually have a new show happening here every 2 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And you know what, I already kind of peeked around, like I see you got artists from a bunch of different places too. Like I noticed some from Calgary, some are a little bit more local. Like that's you got a real different array of stuff too, like stained glass and paintings and stuff like that too, eh?
Yeah, right now their show is from current and former residents of Kerrobert.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, this is a really fun one, and we have a lot of people coming out to this show because they have relatives that have work here. So.
Now, not only is the Kerrobert Courthouse home to the art gallery, the library, a small office for counseling services, and some town office space, but it's also the town's museum. After all, it is a historical site itself, and there's a lot of stuff in there. Everything from town history and newspaper clippings to toys from days past and artifacts from when the courthouse and the cells inside were operational. And Bobby, along with her daughter Brina, who is responsible for the timeline of the town's history, filled me in on one of the many ghost stories from around the courthouse.
So I have to check the displays every day as part of my job, and I went into the upstairs room, the judge's chambers one day.
Yeah.
I saw a lump in the bed. I felt it. I'd never been there before, so I check it every day. But I felt this bump, it was hard, and I lifted it up, and it was an umbrella was under the covers.
Yeah, which wasn't there the day before. So that's not
The one that's like
uncommon.
hanging up in there right
Yeah.
now, I think. I
Yeah,
noticed that on the way out. Weird.
We've had summer students, we had one summer student who swore up and down that one of the dolls' heads turned and looked at her in this room. We had some people visiting us from PA who had come hoping to see something of the ghost, and they said when they opened up one of the vaults, they saw a black figure rose up from the ground. So we've had a lot, we've had people see whiteness as well. So we've had a lot of really odd things happen here. We also have had many people that have worked here and said there's no truth to the story. People being scared.
Now, Kerrobert's got some construction going on right now, and quite a bit, so it's difficult to get to some businesses like Short Insurance, for example. But some of the businesses downtown are really going to appreciate this as well, like Baum's Auto Service and Supply and the Kerrobert Ready Mart. But one other business that you got to check out is one that's available to everybody in the public, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So right now I'm standing just in front of the first tee box at what is, in my opinion, one of the nicest golf courses you're going to find in a small town like this one. The Kerrobert Golf Course is absolutely gorgeous, and if I was playing around today, I'd have to take some footage and show you because it is beautiful. You owe it to yourself to give it a try. And to learn a little bit more about how it was actually came to be here in Kerrobert, well, for that we talked to Town Councillor Brad Murphy.
You know, it was definitely a community-funded process, we'll put it that way. The airfield plays a big part in that as far as donation-wise, always. You know, these big companies that are around here, and our local groups, you know, they're a town this size, you're always asked for donations, and I applaud the people that have the businesses in town that are honestly always handing stuff out and looking after these places. But yeah, that was a core group of guys. I wasn't one of them. They got together, God, it's a long time ago now, it's probably 15 years ago, and decided that we're going to make a good golf course. So they actually signed on themselves. They looked after the financing part of it, this group of guys, and we got it done. It's a wonderful district.
It's gorgeous. It's my favorite golf course in the area. Not even close.
Yeah, if you haven't taken a swing at it, you should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
We have men's and ladies night every week. There's, again, a host of tournaments that are going to go back on again now once we get organized after COVID. Yeah, it's a big draw for community for sure.
Oh, that's cool. So at the start of this video, I said I had a bit of an idea what I was all going to be doing to do around Kerrobert, and boy, did I turn out to be wrong. There is so much awesome stuff going on in Kerrobert. There's so much at the courthouse. The water tower's got some cool history, but there's so much stuff we didn't get to. I didn't even get to go to the train station, which you got to check that out at some point too. I didn't get to go and take a look at some of their sports facilities. I was hoping to take a little more look at the hockey rink there, but hey, they got a new Zamboni, it sounds like, as well. So make sure if you're going to Kerrobert, absolutely stop by the courthouse. Talk to Bobby if you can, because she is a wealth of information. There's just so much awesome stuff going on around Kerrobert that you really got to go check out, and the people there are fantastic too. So make sure you check out Kerrobert, you go have some fun there as well. Next week we're going to be in Unity, so let me know what's all going on in Unity as well. Would love to see you out there. And thank you so much for joining me on this another road trip here around West Central Saskatchewan. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks, Kerrobert, too. You guys are good people. And now for a little bonus question with Brad Murphy about something I forgot to go get footage of before I edited this video, but I wasn't driving back. Sorry. The farm building or whatever that is there on the edge of town, northeast edge there, yeah. I think it's painted every year with like the names of the grads and stuff like that. Is that a tradition that's been going on for a long time? Like, is that a thing that's kind of just established around Kerrobert?
Absolutely, you know, and I'm not the person, my neighbors own the barn actually. It's a Smith farm that owns that barn up there, and they have for a long time. Yeah, that's been going on since before I graduated for sure. I'm not exactly sure on the first date it was done. It was probably in the 80s that it was done. And yeah, every year They go out there and they block somebody's name out from 2 years before, and you put yours on there for years.
Huh. That's kind of cool.
It as actually that barn's took a whole new twist with the generation of the family that's there now. They actually cleaned that old barn up from the inside. And there's been a wedding out there. There's been a graduation out there, and I'm sure there's going to be an anniversary celebration or something this fall as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked that now. You
Yeah.
know what? I wasn't even thinking of it before
Yeah.
I came out here. Then, I went, oh, that's actually